Hi, my fellow travelers through the pages of the Bible. It's Tim. Great to be with you today as we consider God's Word day by day. Our reading for today was in Numbers chapter 8 and chapter 9, and that's what we'll be thinking about a little bit for a few minutes. You notice in chapter 9, toward the end, after the second Passover, um, the cloud is described that was going to be leading the people. The Apostle Paul referred to that in the New Testament, 1 Corinthians 10:1. He says, "Moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant how that our fathers were under the cloud." And all that time that they were in the wilderness, God was directing them and leading them through the Shekinah glory. That's how he demonstrated his approval of the tabernacle when it was constructed. It filled the tabernacle to such an extent that even Moses was not able to enter that tent for a period of time, but it was a constant part of their life in the desert, and it would tell them when to move, and tell them when to camp. You ever wish that God would appear to you in that way, that God would point out the way to go that clearly and just send you a cloud? Well, he's done better than that for us. He's given his word to direct our steps and to lead us. That's why the Bible is so important for us, and that's why it's worth taking the time to just work our way through the Bible. And by the end of this year, we'll be through the entire Bible. We've done it together, but that's why it's so important. This is how God directs our steps and how God leads us today. It's much better than this pillar of fire that Israel saw. It might not seem that quite that dramatic, but it's more precise and more accurate, and it applies to all the areas of our lives where we need understanding. But this was not the first time, though, they saw this cloud. It's mentioned in Exodus chapter 14, 19, and 20 when they were fleeing from Egypt, and they had to stop because the Red Sea was right in front of them. Mountains were on either side of them. And then they realized that the army of Egypt was right behind them, and they couldn't get away. But it says, the angel of the Lord, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. That cloud that was leading them went behind them, and it gave them time to escape. It was their safety, but it was time for them just to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. That's all they could do in that situation, as long as that cloud was right there. And the Egyptian army wasn't going to go forward. If you had any military background, it's suicide to charge into a heavy fog or smoke, a place where you can't see what you're charging into. It usually ends up badly when you do that. And so that was their time, just to stand still and see God work because of that cloud. Well, it was also a time for worship. When you get into Numbers chapter 9, 15, and 16, it said when that pillar of fire and that cloud stayed still, where did it go? It placed itself at the tabernacle. Didn't have to be there. God could have chosen any other place to put that cloud, but he wanted it right there. Now, why did he want it there? Because when it's time to stop and their resting times, that was the place of worship. And that was just God's way of letting you know, okay, we've traveled far enough, and now it's time to worship and to focus on me. The tabernacle, of course, was the place of atonement, and it's a place where they found forgiveness of sins, a place where they could pray, a place where they could focus their attention completely on God. And that was the idea of why that cloud was right there in the tabernacle. And it's also time to follow them when that cloud would move. Whenever that cloud would lift itself up from over that tent, people would know, hey, it's time to pack our bags. And they would tear down their tents, take down the tabernacle, pack whatever they had, and get in order, be ready to move. And they would follow that cloud through the desert, wherever it led them, until they came to another place where it was time to stop and rest. And it's interesting that descriptions that it could be a few days, it could be a month, it could be a year. Over that 40-year period of time, they just followed that cloud wherever it went. You ever think that maybe it'd be a good idea to respond to God like that? It is. It's an exciting way to live, I can guarantee you. That even as an old man, if you would ask me 6 months ago where God was going to lead in 2024, I never would have dreamed that He had some of the things in mind for us that He has demonstrated. And we just follow His leading. He's indicated where to go, and that's where we're headed. And I wouldn't want to live anywhere, any other way, my friends, and I commend it to you. God will take you through all kinds of directions in your life, and I don't know where God is taking you right now, but I do know one thing, and I can guarantee you, and even if it's different from what you might expect, it's always the best for you. I wouldn't want to live life any other way, and that's why I leave you with this thought from the cloud: follow Him. Well, get in the Bible tomorrow. We'll be in Numbers chapter 10 and chapter 11. And I'm looking forward to our time together then. See you soon.